Hey, what's up, gang? Ken here from the Retro Toyscapades channel in Malaysia. Today, I'm taking a look at Masters of the Universe Origins Wave 2 and one of the most recognizable Masters characters since the 1980s, Man-E Faces, a heroic warrior that has three personalities in one: human, robot, and monster. Now, when I was a kid, I thought that the way that his name was spelled with an E in the middle was kind of unique. I remember thinking, yeah, maybe it's just a sophisticated way of saying off, like man of faces. I didn't think too much of it, but some years ago, I was watching that episode of The Toys That Made Us on Netflix, and on the episode that focused on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, someone from Mattel was talking about Many Faces and mentioned that the name was like a pun or a joke for the line, Many Faces. And I was like, oh, right, Many Faces. I mean, I did feel kind of dumb for not getting it years earlier, but what are you gonna do? Checking out the card back artwork for Many Faces, and you see him being a performer in King Randor's court. It says here that he was an actor, and this is one aspect of the character that I gotta admit I wasn't really familiar with. So I suppose that him being an actor and a performer somewhat lends himself well to his multiple personalities. You see here in the background that even Teela, lovely Teela, appears enamored by his act. Yep, it definitely must take a lot to impress her. But yeah, I always accepted it that Many Faces was just one of those characters in the series that could do weird things. I mean, him having a human, robot, and a monster alter ego just seemed like another day in the world of Masters of the Universe. I mean, after all, the series even has characters like a walking, talking elephant firefighter. But you see Many Faces here even squaring off against Skeletor. You see the power sword there and Skeletor's hand off to the side. Yep, he's definitely doing battle with Skeletor. But what would make a secondary character like him take on a heavy hitter like Skeletor? That made me want to check out his backstory even more. Well, in comes the mini-comic Bible and the first appearance of Many Faces in the story, The Ordeal of Many Faces. Now, I gotta say that these old mini-comics sure did have some seriously awesome artwork in them. Look at the shot of Skeletor skulking in the background at one of Many Faces' public performances. The art is in fact by Mark Texiera, a legit comics artist who's done some amazing stuff on the Ghost Rider books as well. You see He-Man and Teela in the crowd as well, and Teela is just gushing over Many Faces. She says here, "My, he's very handsome indeed. Perhaps I will be able to meet him." You see, guys, this is further proof that if you're an actor in any universe, you're gonna be a big hit with the ladies. Yep. Anyways, Skeletor has other plans for Many Faces and decides to use him as a tool in his battle against He-Man. Now, why exactly Skeletor would decide on choosing a human actor as one of his warriors in battle, it's open to debate, but it's likely that he felt Many Faces' ability to portray different roles would mean that he could also convincingly play the role of a terrifying fighter. Now, Skeletor forces him to drink a potion that transforms him into a fearsome monster to be used at his command. Later, Many Faces reverts to his monster persona and attacks the unsuspecting He-Man and friends. The sorceress then intervenes to try to use her magic in order to revert Many Faces back to his human form. There is a wild battle that ensues between the sorceress and Skeletor, a battle of ferocious magic as both sides try to claim Many Faces for their own. Then something incredible happens. As Many Faces is being pulled between his human and monster personalities, a third form emerges, a robot mode. Shit, man! This blew me away as I didn't expect something this insane to take place. I guess magic versus magic will cancel each other out, and the end result is something science fiction. It's like Lord of the Rings and Narnia doing battle, and the end result is Star Wars. Anyway, the robot mode is sort of a compromise between the human and monster forms. But the sorceress uses her magic once more to transform Many Faces back to his human self. But all is not solved, because just as everyone is celebrating, we see a dark and haunting thought balloon coming out of the sorceress as she says to herself, I wish it was so, for the monster and the robot are now parts of Many Faces forever, and it is only a matter of time before Skeletor tries to use those selves again. So you see, essentially, the sorceress's final words here have brought life to the existence and validity of Many Faces as an action figure. And that is why you can now enjoy this toy of many, many faces. Okay, now this updated Many Faces Origins figure actually looks like a complete redeco from the 1980s vintage original. Yeah, I mean, the two figures are completely different in terms of the color scheme. For one thing, this one looks like he's wearing a skin-tight yellow bodysuit. That's right. I say bodysuit because somehow he's still rocking those abs, as you can see. Now, he's still pretty much recognizable as the classic Many Faces. I mean, he's still got that bucket on top of his head. And he's got those sci-fi looking cables running all around him and, into his helmet and through the back and just everywhere, okay? But yeah, he's still Many Faces, but just more yellowish, it seems. Okay, now, the body parts are swappable, but not the head, okay? Obviously, due to the action feature, the head is not actually removable. You can try, but no, I wouldn't recommend it. And aside from that, you can actually take him apart at the waist. Yeah, okay, that's right. The arms and legs too are removable, so there are still mix and match possibilities. Now, Many Faces comes with one accessory, which is a very futuristic, alien-looking laser gun. Now, this thing looks like it's straight out of Mars Attacks, okay? Yeah, so he gets the one weapon, which is very much like what we saw with the vintage original. But if they were looking to improve things with the Origins, perhaps him being a character with 3 personalities, they could have given him a unique accessory or weapon for each of his modes. I mean, that's just a thought. And what do you guys think? Either way, he looks great with the gun in hand and ready to do some damage. Enemies of Eternia, beware! Okay, now it's time to check out the action feature on Many Faces. Now this thing is the figure's main gimmick. You've got this dial at the top of his helmet here, and turning it allows the head to rotate, okay, and you get to see his other forms, like the monster mode here, and turning it again will reveal his robot mode. That's right. So all you gotta do is just keep turning that dial, either way, left or right, clockwise or anti-clockwise, But suppose, a malfunction takes place and the thing just keeps spinning, like so. No, make it stop! Make it stop! No, make it stop! Ah! Thank you. In robot mode, I guess you could have some fun swapping parts with Roboto. Many Faces, I did not see you there. Is there something that I can do for you? Yes, Roboto. Give me your arms. Do not struggle. I repeat, do not struggle. Yes, so much better. So much better. Alright, so joining the party is the vintage 1980s Many Faces. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the color scheme on this guy, looks actually very different in the sense that, first of all, he doesn't have anything on underneath all those cables and, bits of technology that you see on his body. Basically, he's just bare-chested. He's like a regular old Eternian barbarian, and he's got all this gear attached to his body. Now, you will notice that the color scheme on the body parts especially is a lot darker. And I gotta say that, honestly, I kind of prefer this version. I feel like the darker color scheme really brings out the details a lot better. There are some differences in the main head design, but the action feature essentially works the same. There is a dial at the top of the head of where the helmet is, and turning it allows you to rotate between his different facial modes. But what you can see here is actually the detailing on the facial modes here is actually a lot better. Let me give you an example here, especially in his monster mode. If we were to compare between the vintage original and the new one, and check it out here. And now look at the monster mode on the current Origins version. It kind of looks like a kid colored his face with crayons. Okay, but on the vintage original, you really see the detailing of his features, and the monster mode honestly works a lot better. Now, what do you guys think? Okay, I would say that if you're a fan, basically collect both versions. But this is one of the cases where I feel that other than the possibility with the Origins figure, the vintage is actually the better of the two. Leave me a comment, guys. Let me know what you think. Now, I've seen this feature before, in terms of one figure having different facial modes, especially in 2004, thereabouts, like 2004, 2005, I think, when we had the Transformers Energon series, and they put out this Quintesson figure. This was from Hasbro, and the figure essentially had these multiple head modes, okay? Very much in line with the character of the Quintessons. If you follow the Transformers, okay, the figure can assume different faces. That's right, Pressing on a button on the back of the creature's helmet allows different facial modes to be achieved. Look at that. That's right. It's a pretty cool feature and very reminiscent of many faces. Now, similarly, Hasbro has revamped their Mighty Max vinyl figures, and all of their new figures covering their Marvel, Star Wars, and Transformers properties allow you to now achieve different facial modes, within the same feature, okay? So basically, it's the same character, but, you have him exhibiting different expressions. Look at that, It's pretty unique. I'm not really sure I'm too crazy about Optimus Prime, with lips and teeth, but it's still a cool feature, and again, reminiscent of the technology that we saw with many faces. Okay, so that's the video, guys. Now, let me know what you thought of it. Let me know if you have many faces, both the vintage and the new Origins figure in your collection. Leave me a comment, let me know what you thought of them, and let me know what you thought of the video. Definitely, okay, I want to hear your comments. Okay, I love to hear from you guys. Okay, and every comment, every like that you guys throw me down in the comment section helps to push up the video, so I really do appreciate it, and I try to reply every one of your comments too. And if you haven't, guys, subscribe to the channel. Okay, we need all the help we can get in order to take this thing to the next level. So hey, I'll catch you guys again real soon with more reviews. Take care, everyone.